All right, well, welcome to the Mental Wellness and Addictions Worker Program webinar. I'm going to walk through our program, and here is what you will. Oh, you are here. Great. So this is me. I'm the coordinator for the program, and relatively new program as well. And you'll notice my shirt has a great blue shoe. And this is something that we use in our classroom as a precursor to activities that we do. We do a lot of real active learning strategies in the classroom. So when this shoe comes up on the screen in the class, everybody kind of knows we're going to do something fun and we're going to do some learning. So that's a little bit. And so my first graduating class actually made that shirt for me. By education, do I want to get into my background? Just so people know.
Speak a little bit, sure, yeah.
Sure, okay. So by education, I'm actually a registered psychiatric nurse. I'm from the lower mainland of British Columbia, and I moved out to Brandon, Manitoba back in 2003, and stayed there for about almost 4 years, working on a child and adolescent treatment unit, and then moved out to Kingston, Ontario, late 2006, worked in adult mental health and addictions, and moved up into a leadership role there as a supervisor, worked with our crisis team, worked with short-term case management, and worked in our housing services program as well. So frontline and management experience. So that's a bit about my background. And so, yeah, that's me. And so here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover really what is the mental wellness and addictions worker, what do they do, where do they work, a few quick facts about the program, who the professors are in the program, structure of the program. We'll be able to take a look at the big map of the program, and what a couple of testimonials about what folks have had to say, and then just continuing education and applying in next steps. So those are the big points that we're going to hit on today. So we consider what is a mental wellness and addictions worker. We really want to look at who you are. Got a couple of pictures of folks in the class there, just a couple of former students, a few former students. So really being others focused, compassionate, supportive, thoughtful, patient, passionate, understanding. So some of those key elements of what a mental wellness and addictions worker is. And if this sounds like you, if you have an inclination to do that, you have a desire to engage people to achieve optimal wellness in their life, then this could very well be a great program in terms of suitability for you. And it's about taking the gifts that you have, taking those elements and turning those gifts that you might have and turning them into strategic, intentional tools and skills and strategies, and learning how to hone those throughout the process of our program. And so that sounds like you're in the right place. So what does the mental wellness and addictions worker do, or MWA? Really, here's just some of the things that we do when we can. We've got a beautiful campus here in Brockville, and we do some outside learning opportunities in our just sort of a outside, almost like a picnic area. Great area to learn. And we do a lot of activities in the class, engaging each other, having good discussions about content, and our students are all lined up there doing what we call a line of caffeine, learning about caffeine and this substance, among many others. We do a lot of learning presentations as well, so doing group presentations for the college, the greater college, and among their peers. So the content that we learn, we're sharing that learning with other people. And sometimes even I get in with my beer goggles on there and have a drink of beer. It's non-alcoholic beer, but just to sort of simulate the effects of alcohol as a learning activity that one of the students had me do. So a lot of fun that we have there. So really, some of the nuts and bolts, though, so you can see the pictures on the right, just those different activities in the class. So looking at honing effective communication, looking at how we do our documentation when we engage our clients, looking at what our skill sets are in terms of those gifts that I had mentioned earlier, and using those skill sets and adapting and modifying them and using them as strategic tools. We talk about really engaging the client with a variety of frameworks to look at client care, how we plan and work and implement those plans with the client through active learning strategies as well. Modeling and teaching, of course, we talk about really the value of not just putting on a hat as a mental wellness and addictions worker, but it's really becomes who we are, an integrated approach to the field, and so really maintaining that level of professionalism and modeling and teaching to the clients that we engage with. Personal and professional. So being a lifelong ongoing learner is the other key there. That education doesn't just stop once we finish the program. We're always learning, growing, and stretching our professional capacity. Building on self-awareness and self-care strategies. Planning and coordination of services in the field, so really having connection points with our different stakeholders in mental health and addiction settings in our communities, so really engaging those stakeholders. Really working on holistic client assessments, so really understanding the client from a holistic perspective, which we call the biopsychosocial plus. Great. Thanks to whoever's just joined. It sounds like we have somebody that's come into the webinar. That's great. Great to have you with us. So we're just picking up really what does a mental wellness and addictions worker do. And as we continue on through the list, looking at the biopsychosocial plus framework to provide holistic client assessments. And looking at the ethical practice of the profession that we go in and grappling with a lot of the ethical situations and ethical dilemmas that can accompany the work that we do. We contribute to a multidisciplinary team, so working in groups is fairly common in the program because we model that activity when we get out into the community, to our various organizations through placement and eventually get hired. It's all about teamwork and engaging the multidisciplinary team and how we contribute to that picture. And really, ultimately, our goal is to really establish and promote a health and safe work environment. So as a mental wellness and addictions worker, safety is obviously key, and learning how we can establish and promote that in our practice is very relevant. Sound like a lot, might sound kind of scary. Oh, and that's me, by the way. Great picture. Does sound a little bit scary and overwhelming, but really, the bottom line is that really when we're in the classroom, we has fun. Maybe that was a bit of a spelling mistake there. What is that? We have fun while learning, and so we go on. We did a field trip last year to Tweed, learn about the cannabis growth and distribution processes in our pharmacology course. We do other sort of like hands-on activities around self-awareness and self-growth and using metaphors in class. We have fun in the classroom while we're learning, and that's the key piece there. So really just some quick facts about the program itself. So we have a 2-year 4-semester program, and that includes a clinical field placement at the end of towards the end of those 2 years, and we'll look at that in a couple of slides coming up. We do have some admission requirements, so having your high school diploma with grade 12 English at the CU or M level, also a college, university, or mixed level. Grade 11 math is the other prerequisite. And I don't know if there's anything you needed to add to that. Probably not, Sean. Okay. But if you're concerned about not having those, then there's a link here that you can talk to our college and career prep program that is free for Ontario residents. So if you're wondering about whether or not you meet the requirements, you can always click onto that info there to ask. And here, what do we have here? What will I learn? Specialized training to engage, support individuals with mental health and or addictions concerns. Like really, that's like one sentence that could encapsulate our program. You can go onto the link right there. We'll take you to our SLC college site for the mental wellness and addictions worker program. But really, you're getting this information here in the webinar. And looking at where job opportunities are, we'll look at, I've got a slide further on that we can look at addressing as well. So our faculty, really we have a number of part-time faculty that have real seasoned knowledge and understanding about our content, about our program content, which is great. And then of course I'm as the coordinator, that's me in the bottom there. So just to give you a little bit of a picture of the who will be in the class with me while I'm learning. So here is like a real big, sort of like a broad brushstroke of the program. So when we look at here, that first year, year one, we go top down. You can look at each of those courses that we cover in terms of the content, and what you can do at a later point, because you'll have access to the slides in the presentation. You can actually click on to those the AMHW 1, 2, 3, all those different course headings. And it will actually open up and provide you with a sort of like a broad brush stroke of that individual course. So that first column is your year one. The second column is our second semester of year one. So those first two columns are going to be your fall intake, September to December. And then second semester really is where we are now with our semester 2 students. And then we continue on the columns. You can see that year 2 that's our semester 3. So that happens again when you come back after a winter semester, come back in the fall to commence semester 3. Okay, and then semester 4 is your final semester that comes in January, when you can again take a look at those different courses in terms of what's really the content that we're covering within each of those courses. A great tool to take a look at. And of course, in the end, it's like, well, we've got all these courses, but then what? You'll see at the very bottom right-hand corner there is our field placement. So we do a 7-week placement in the field of mental health and or addictions in a variety of settings, and we'll address that in a later slide as well. But that's sort of like the nugget that everybody really looks toward is that field placement, because not only do you get to showcase your skills of what you've been learning throughout the program, but we have people that actually hire organizations have actually hired our students from their placement settings, so which is encouraging. And then so here's just a few sort of testimonials that folks have said about the program. The very first one there on the left is Ashley. She actually came into the program when the program was first offered in its first year, and she came into the program really with this perception that harm reduction was a bad thing, and had sort of like these biases that she came to the table with, and was really she was almost against a harm reduction approach, not really fully understanding it. And then during her journey in the program, wound up actually getting placed in a methadone clinic in a harm reduction program, and had this numerous light bulb moments about what harm reduction was and what the implications were, and had this amazing shift in terms of just her worldview and in terms of helping clients in need. And she spoke with her. She actually wound up getting a full-time job as well at this clinic actually in Kingston, and she loves it. And you ask her that, on day one of the program, and she probably would have had a few words to say about harm reduction and the fact that she'd be working in a harm reduction program when she finished. So amazing. And then we have just a couple of other folks that have shared a bit of their thoughts about the program as well. The middle one is one of our stakeholders in the high school here in Brockville that had taken on a placement student last year, and just really great conversations with our community stakeholders. So good, strong connection points. So you can read those on your own afterwards, as the slides will be available. And then so looking at when we look at placing students in their placement settings for field placement. You can see there's like a real variety of placement options. So from schools, from elementary to high schools, working with older adult mental health. So like there's like long-term care. There's working in or being placed rather in corrections. A number of different I'll say organizations, but institutions have taken on students as well. Community mental health, community addiction centers, treatment centers, working with youth. We have had them situated in students situated in hospital as well. So let me see here, looking at like adult education centers as well, working their placement in the vocational program. A local mental health and addiction services, working with the co-op team, victim services, home-based housing out Kingston Way, Change Healthcare, OATC, Brock Cottage, Tenant House, Opioid Rapid Response program, working with Providence Manor in Kingston, working with the older adult, working with the primary health adult day program as well with older adult. We've had students that were placed with the Alzheimer's Society, and we're actually piloting this semester for placement a great initiative with Brockville General Hospital, working with their ACT team, taking on one of our students to look at their placement, working with developmental services, OCDC, so with the detention center in Ottawa, Big Brothers Big Sisters. There's a real variety of placement opportunities, and one of the great things is that we're, as a newer program, we're actually able to look at if we don't have an organization that we've connected with yet, we just need to reach out with them and put in place an agreement so a student can be placed in the area of their choice. So that's, we're growing our communications. And of course, when graduation is always real special. As one of our graduating students there, just want to throw that in there. Just it's always great to see at the end of a couple of years that our students that walk across the floor on convocation. So when they do finish the program, there's always the option to continue on with your education. And so we have a couple of articulation agreements with a couple of different universities. So Athabasca University, you can basically continue on from our program and go right into Athabasca University for the Bachelor of Professional Arts and Human Services, or St. Paul University has an Honors Bachelor of Arts in Human Relations and Spirituality. So again, looking at, we see the client in terms of holistic care and support. The St. Paul University degree program looks like a great fit. Well, I mean, they both look like a great fit, but if people do want to pursue education to get their degree, if they don't have one, you can certainly continue on. The credits that you earn here at St. Lawrence College transfer directly into those other universities for continuation with your degree. So that's really exciting. Sean, I don't know if the international, domestic opportunities, those pieces, if there's anything you wanted to add to that.
Just that, beyond the direct articulations with the program, if you did want to transfer to any post-secondary institution, we do have people here at the college that would work with you to review your credits, to see if perhaps you just want to stay local, Ottawa, Queens, all kinds of areas. And then we do have an entire area at the college that would allow you to investigate opportunities to go overseas, particularly Ireland. We have a lot of agreements there. So a lot of your education, your credits here are transferable to other institutions beyond just the two that we have the direct articulation agreement with.
Yeah, great. Good to know. Yeah. Exciting. I feel like maybe this might be your end of the.
Brockville. I study in Brockville. That's where our program is hosted here between our three campus cities. Brockville is a small community, so it's great for those people that maybe don't want the hustle and bustle of the big city like a Toronto. Very community-oriented city, lots of events, great, beautiful waterfront, lots of things to do. lots of North End developments for your shopping, while also keeping with the traditional downtown kind of tourist areas. So it's a great place to live. I live here. Great slow-paced city, but also a great place to learn and live in as well.
Yeah, it's a real hub. That's great. It really is a beautiful city. Looking at the upgrades and renovations that have been happening across the tri-campuses.
Yeah, so the Kingston information isn't as relevant for this, given that you would be here. But in short, the college underwent nearly a $30 million reno upgrade project over the last couple of years, with the key improvements for Brockville: a brand new library with furniture, quiet study rooms, group study rooms with the smartboard technology, which is really great. We've got new classrooms, and Jamie, can you speak to those?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, so we have the interactive classroom. So being able to learn an environment that isn't like, your traditional sitting in rows and sitting in, desks that are in rows, and having the professor standing at the front lecturing. This is more about real circular dynamic of engagement with your peers. And so really there's no real, front of the room. It's like, set up where there's tables, everything's on wheels. 4 of the 4 walls have a huge, ceiling to floor whiteboard space, so students can get on the whiteboards, and we use technology in the classroom as well. So these things that are really surgically attached to our hips, we recognize that, and we can pull them out and use them as learning tools in the classroom as well. So really taking the technology and using it in these interactive classrooms.
Great. And just beyond that, a lot of the space here at the college, the cafeteria is brand new reno, which is great. In short, the main takeaway here is that coming to SLC in the next couple of years is a great, the timing is perfect because of all these major renovations that have went underway.
Yeah, great. So there's just a picture of the college and the college grounds. So if you want to come and check out our open house in the spring, it's on April 4th, 2020, from 9 till noon. You want to come out and check out our beautiful Brockville location, and there's free parking.
Yeah, always a good one. But open house is a great event. You get to come here, you get to meet Jamie, you get to meet current students, maybe some other faculty, tour the building. You can take a look at the residents and really envision yourself as a future SLC student. It's a great event. We highly recommend that you come and check it out if you can. Yeah. If not, you're able to take a book a tour at any time. Jamie or one of our recruiting staff here at the college would be happy to sit down with you, show you around. Yeah. The link there, we'll provide this in the PowerPoint after, but essentially it's stlawrencecollege.ca/book a tour. And of course, if you're ready to apply, you can do it directly from the program page on our website, or you can go to ontariocolleges.ca and begin that journey there.
Great. OSAP, just an informational slide.
Yeah, generic info here about OSAP. A lot of people are familiar, but if you do have any specific questions, you give us a ring, and our great financial aid people will help get you sorted out in that regard. The one thing I do want to point out is under bursaries and scholarships, there are over 500 available across all 3 campuses, and the beauty of it is that you only have to fill out an application once. You don't have to figure out which ones that you may be eligible for. You apply for one, and then our staff figure that out for you. It's a great time saver. We always highly recommend that people apply to these, because we hear from our awards department that sometimes some of them go unused, which is a shame because that money is there. So you've got the info there. Reach out to our people at awards@sl.on.ca, and the first application deadline is at the end of April, so you've got some time.
Oh, good to know. Great. Just again, some of our key contacts so folks are aware.
Yeah, the one that I would highlight there would be the admissions department. If you have a program specific question, you will reach out to Jamie, and he will let you know. His contact info will be up at the end of this. But if you have any actual questions about the college or the admissions process, etc., reach out to them, and our recruiting staff will be able to help get you sorted out.
Definitely. Great. All right, this is my contact information here. If you want to reach out, you can always call, leave a message, but I always recommend using email as probably your first line of contact with me, because I'm not always at my desk. I'm either in the classroom or out doing something. So definitely sending an email is probably your best bet if you wanted to reach out.